The world is mocking Donald Trump. Our enemies are laughing in his face. Our allies, who Donald Trump has pushed away when he's isolated the United States, are horrified. Take a look at some of the recent headlines. You have China making an announcement asking the United States to maintain stability of international financial system after the Moody's downgrade. China literally mocking the United States as though it was like a banana republic, and China saying, we're just trying to maintain the stability of the international financial system. Donald, can you make it a little more stable for the rest of us? Don't you realize that China is behaving the way the United States used to behave, and the United States is behaving how China used to behave, or how North Korea is behaving right now? One of the things we learned as well when Donald Trump had that phone call with Vladimir Putin early in the week, one of the things that Vladimir Putin was doing to mock Donald Trump was Putin took that call at some random elementary school in southern Russia to make the point that he didn't even give a crap about the phone call. And then when he spoke to Russian press, he made it very clear that he wanted to see the total elimination of Ukraine, while Donald Trump was out there saying, oh, we made progress. No, you didn't. You completely caved and capitulated is what happened. Here's what Putin said from inside the elementary school where he took the phone call from Donald Trump. Here, play this clip.
Russia's position is clear. The main thing for us is to eliminate the root causes of this crisis.
You take a look what Garry Kasparov, a Russian pro-democracy leader, a dissident from Russia, had to say about the whole setting and the message that Putin was sending by taking the call in an elementary school. And Kasparov knows, you know, the way Putin's propaganda works. He goes, he was laughing and mocking Donald Trump. Here's what Kasparov had to say. Play this clip.
Putin is laughing at him. And he didn't even just come back to Moscow. He spoke to him from a music school in the obscure place in the south of Russia.
Do you think that matters too, where he took the call
Putin
from?
Putin shows disdain. Putin enjoys it. I mean, you can see the body language. You know this, and also, dictator has to show his strength. He's playing, you know,
So he's talking to him from a music school somewhere.
But it's also a message to Russians and to many others, you know, just other dictators in the world. Trump is nobody. I mean, look, you know, I can play the American president as a broken guitar.
And Donald Trump is so much of an idiot that when Trump gave his press conference, he was saying, well, you know, Putin kept on talking about my wife, Melania, and he was saying how respected she is. Here's what Donald Trump had to say. Play this clip.
Compassionate First Lady, I would tell you she is very dedicated. In fact, if you look at just what I heard, Putin just said they respect your wife a lot. I said, what about me? No, they like Melania better. That wasn't good. I don't know if that was good. I'm okay with it. I'm okay.
And then Donald Trump held another press conference earlier yesterday where Donald Trump basically said that he wasn't going to do anything anymore regarding Russia and Ukraine, that it's basically he's done. He goes, there's lots of big egos involved here. And really, this is a European deal anyway. I'm not going to do anything. Here, play this clip.
Got very big egos involved, I tell you. Big egos involved, but I think something's going to happen. And if it doesn't, I'd just back away and they're going to have to keep going. Again, this was a European situation. It should have remained a European situation.
You said you were going to end the war in 24 hours. That was your promise that you ran on. And I want to be clear, and I'm glad a lot of the press is coming around to this realization now after printing the BS headlines that Donald Trump had like accomplished something, that the press is coming around to the fact that no, Donald Trump completely capitulated, and he says it's too hard for him to negotiate anymore. So he just wants to have Ukraine and Russia deal with themselves directly. But here's what Donald Trump said repeatedly during the campaign. Let's play this clip.
End the war in Ukraine in 24 hours.
Yes, I
How would you do that?
I know Zelensky very well.
I'll end that war between those two countries in 24 hours. It won't even take that long. I will get the war ended. I'll stop all of those lives from being wasted and lost. And there'll be no more bombing of Ukraine.
Now, to be clear, what Donald Trump wants to happen is Trump wants to do financial deals with Putin directly. And what Trump is hoping that if he removes the United States from these discussions and turns a blind eye to what's taking place, Putin can commit the genocide that he wants to commit. And again, yesterday, more missiles coming in from Russia into Ukraine, targeting innocent Ukrainians. That's what was going down. So Donald Trump went to the Capitol Hill yesterday, showing more loser behavior there. I mean, by the way, in this moment, Donald Trump appears to walk straight into a wall. He's or a column. Just watch what he does right here. Play this clip.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
And while Donald Trump was there on Capitol Hill, he was asked a question. Do you want these budget negotiations to just end? And he was confused, what negotiation? What's going on? The budget negotiations. That's why you're on Capitol Hill right now. You're on Capitol Hill because there's a faction of MAGA Republicans who want further cuts to Medicaid. And there's a faction of MAGA Republicans who don't like the optics of cutting Medicaid. And there's a faction of MAGA Republicans who want to raise the cap from the state and local tax deductions that you put on during your first term. And then Donald Trump, when he's answering these questions, just starts randomly attacking blue states. Play this clip.
Do you want the negotiations to be over now?
Which negotiation?
Over this bill.
Oh, yeah, well, it's going to be. We're going to be putting it in soon, and I think we're going to have great support.
Are you going to
We are going to make a couple of tweaks. I mean, we don't want to benefit Democrat governors, although I would do that if it made it better, but they don't know what they're doing.
So you want
We don't want to do any damage to a state. We want to help all the states, but we have governors that are from the Democrat Party. Let's say New York, Illinois, big ones, and let's say Gavin Newsom, who's done a horrible job in California. We want to benefit we want to benefit Republicans because they are the ones that are going to make America great again. The Democrats are destroying our country, and you see that with the past administration, with an open borders policy that allowed 21 million people into our country, and many of those people are stone cold murderers, killers, and trouble.
By the way, it's just so utterly unhinged when you look through Donald Trump's social media platform, the ads, this Nuvia dental implants. This is what you see in between Donald Trump's posts. And then so here's Donald Trump's new post, right? After the MAGA Republicans, spread all of these conspiracies about 5G and 6G. Wasn't that their whole big conspiracy? 5G, 6G. MAGA now apparently loves 5G. Donald Trump's post. We must maintain our status as the worldwide leader in Wi-Fi, 5G, and 6G, connecting every American to the world's best networks. Well, then, if that's the case, then why are you ripping apart former President Biden's Inflation Reduction Act and Infrastructure Act as well? That would further 5G and 6G networks. Speaking though of how MAGA just changes their positions on everything. So the deputy director of the FBI, Dan Bongino, I can't believe I'm even saying that, who was a deranged right-wing podcast guy who would do the Jeffrey Epstein conspiracies and, do all the cabal conspiracies. I mean, Bongino was the worst. But now Bongino's the deputy FBI director, and he's nope, I've looked at the Epstein files, and I can confirm that it was definitely he definitely died by suicide, and it was not any of the conspiracies that what we previously spread. As our editor-in-chief Ron Filipkowski says, on the left is how you build a right-wing talk show audience, and on the right, after becoming deputy FBI director. Here, play this clip.
Listen, that Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal. Please do not let that story go. Keep your eye on this. Catherine Rumler, we need to keep the heat on this case, folks. There are a lot of people who are knee deep in the Washington swamp who are not telling you the truth about serious allegations out there that Epstein may have had video and audio of people out there doing things they shouldn't have been doing. And you should be asking yourself the question, how is it that all these people, the CIA director, the Obama fixer, Bill Clinton, all intersected paths with Jeffrey Epstein? Jeffrey Epstein isn't with us anymore, and nobody seems to want to talk about it. outside of a few entrepreneurial media outlets saying, hey, this is a big deal.
He killed himself. You want me to? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
And the lies just keep coming in from Donald Trump. Yesterday, during Donald Trump's press conference, he claimed that even if the budget bill adds trillions of dollars to the deficit, he goes, no worries. He says that he brought in $5.1 trillion in the last 4 days in the Middle East, which of course is an absolute lie. Here, play this clip.
When you first announced this idea, critics said it would be prohibitively expensive, potentially ineffective, and could trigger an arms race in space. What do you say to those critics about that?
Well, they're wrong. It's about as close to perfect as you can have in terms of real production. I told you Canada wants to be a part of it, which be, fairly small expansion. But we'll work with them on pricing. We'll be dealing with them on pricing. They know about it very much. They've asked to be a part of it, actually. They've asked us to be a part of it. I think it's something that is great. If you can afford to do it, we can afford to do it. We took in $5.1 trillion in the last 4 days in the Middle East. And when you think about it, this is a tiny fraction of that. But we make it all here. We're going to make it all here. We have, I will tell you, an adversary told me, a very big adversary told me the most brilliant people in the world are Silicon Valley's.
You didn't bring in any money, if I'm being completely candid. You have commitments, but also there's no commitment for $5 trillion. The entire Qatar GDP is $200 billion. The United Arab Emirates, $400 billion. Saudi Arabia's entire GDP is $1.1 trillion. They're not giving their entire annual GDP for multiple years based on a meeting. It's just more lies after lies after lies. I think this guy, Justin Wolfer, economist, professor at University of Michigan, I think puts it, he has this graph. He's like total deals done by Donald Trump in 90 days. And he does the chart. 0 actual deals done in 90 days that are actually binding. The UK deal, not a real deal, not binding. It literally says this is not a binding deal on the bottom of it. Okay. So it wasn't even a real fake deal. China, not a deal. It was a consensus where the United States caved and capitulated to China and just withdrew 145% tariffs to 35% tariffs, which are still incredibly, incredibly harmful. And now you see the 30-year Treasury yields look like they're going to hit a 5 handle. Looks like they're going to hit 5%. And now China is lecturing the United States on financial stability in the international markets. Like, do you know how it's so utterly embarrassing? And here's the message from Germany's foreign minister. We expect our U.S. allies not to tolerate the fact that Russia did not impose an immediate ceasefire. That's coming from Germany's foreign minister, because just everywhere around the world, they're seeing how weak and pathetic Donald Trump is. And they're all just saying, like, what the hell is even what in the world is going on there in the United States right now? So Donald Trump will make his post. I want a gift. Give me, come on, Ben, I'm giving you a MAGA award. I have to hit my fundraising goals. Fundraising for what? What the hell are you even talking about? Again, this is the most weak and pathetic presidency I've ever seen. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers.
New Meidas merch drop. Check out the latest pro-democracy sticker packs, t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, and more. All at store.MeidasTouch.com.